This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief of the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, who's a staff reporter at the Post. It is Friday, October 17, 2025. Happy homecoming!
Wait.
Unless you're former UNC
Oh,
Charlotte athletic director Mike Hill.
That's a way to start.
It's a little bit of a bummer today because yesterday he was fired.
Out of nowhere.
Totally out of nowhere. Well, at least nowhere that we knew after 7 years and some success in athletics, but apparently all is not well in Niner Nation.
Yeah, let me look. You can't argue that the man has had success in pretty much every other sport other than the ones that people care about.
The barbershop sports.
I know that's your coin catchphrase.
Yep.
But look, I'm not going to say it was a good firing or bad firing. I think it all depends on what you're judging it on. Like overarching, I guess, picture, if you're looking at it from a very wide view, he was a relatively successful athletics director. Was he winning consistently in basketball? No. Obviously, we all know about Ron Sanchez and his middling record every year, it seemed like, and some years really bad. But football, he hasn't hit on. Alvin, still TBD. But we all know Will Healy, great first year. After that, 8 wins the rest of his tenure. Biff Poggi came in promising the world and then some. Didn't live up to it. His second season, no progress was being made. He gets the axe. So if you're judging him based on the barbershop sports, it might have been time to go. That's not my call. It's way above my pay grade, but that's what Chancellor gave her, and the people that advised her, that was the decision they came to, at least by what I'm hearing yesterday morning, because I've talked with a few sources, and they were like, Mike was at a homecoming event the night before. Didn't seem like anything was off. He was just Mike, just normal. And then all of a sudden this comes out yesterday, kind of mid-afternoon. It's like, what? So that was my take.
It happened literally out of nowhere because there were no warning signs that he might have been in trouble. And this comes on the heels of basically an extension that he signed with the university a year ago, where I don't know about you, but if somebody extends a contract to me, it means, well, there's some long-term security for me as the person who signed the deal and for my employer who wants to keep me in place. But what in the world could have happened in a year to make the university sour on Mike Hill?
And see, I know we don't like to dive too deep into conspiracies, but this one's a good one. They made Jesh Humphrey, who is the Vice Chancellor for Institutional Integrity and General Counsel.
Whew, that's a mouthful.
It is, but they made this guy the interim athletics director. You don't normally see people on the Integrity Council of an institution oversee athletics in an interim period, unless something fishy happened. Again, I'm not going to speculate, but I wonder what could have happened to where, A, this happens out of the blue, B, you say in your press release that, Mike played a pivotal role in advances in the athletics department, including the move to the American, the hiring of football coach Tim Alvin, who has set us on a path towards success.
Mm-hmm. Whatever that means.
You don't say those things and then come to find out you got the Integrity Council guy taking over until they make a hire. It's like, what really happened behind the scenes to where this happened without really anybody having any kind of inside knowledge about it? Because normally big hires and or fires like this, people know about. You didn't see Pete Thommel for ESPN even having this news before little old me, or our colleagues at the Observer, or our colleagues at WBTV and WCNC. We all found out at the same time, so no one knew this. I really wonder what the details were to it.
And I would ask, if you're going to have an interim athletics director, is there not anyone in the athletics department who's capable of sitting in that chair
That's
until
why,
you can hire somebody?
that's why it raises my eyebrows even more, because like, who is this guy? For one, two. I mean, there are people that know him, and I mean, I knew of the name, but would I have ever thought he would step into an athletics director role, even at an interim level? No.
So I guess his job is to just make sure if there's a fire going on, that it doesn't spread. To just make sure it's contained until the university can get somebody that it believes can get the job done in place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just befuddled over the whole thing. But of course, you also have a community of 49ers fans and supporters who are not necessarily in mourning
Yeah.
today over this.
We'll look at the results of our poll.
Yeah, we have a poll on X that asked the question if it was a righteous firing, and I'm guessing
No, it's still.
yeah, it's leaning heavily towards
People are
time.
saying it was the right decision. 85% to 15%, with a total of 75 votes, with 3 hours still left to go in the poll. Most people are saying it was the right thing to do. But then again, what are most people looking at when they look at an athletics department?
Yeah, what is the right thing to do? And I would imagine, just like with coaches in the collegiate ranks, there are certain things that you have to check off in order to have a successful season. You win homecoming.
Yeah.
You beat your biggest rival. That's still out there for Tim Alvin and the 49ers football squad. For athletic directors, if your school has football, you need some success. And I don't even necessarily think that it's about the barbershop sports.
Really?
Because if that were the case, A, I don't think he would have gotten an extension to start with. And B, you wouldn't have made this move in the middle of your new football coach's first season. You talk about conspiracy theories, and we don't necessarily want to get into that. Well, I do. So my theory on this is that it's not necessarily about those sports. It's about dollars.
Okay.
It's about the money that Charlotte doesn't have in order to get to where it needs to go. Now, keep in mind the background of the athletics program. Up until 12, 13 years ago, football didn't exist at UNC Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
You build out a program, put it in place, you spend a couple of years in basically FCS.
Yeah.
Then you make the leap to
Kusa.
And this the deeper end of the pool now. You have limited success there. And then you see an opportunity to get to a deeper end of the pool in the American, and you're not having success there. My point is, I think that the people who run stuff at Charlotte and the people who put money and investment into athletics in Charlotte can see the handwriting on the wall and say, you know what? This program, in order for us to become competitive, needs to be able to get some money in place so that you can pay for better players, pay for the facilities that are still going on. And if you want to be able to get to where you want to go, now never mind, you're trying to do this in a very compacted period of time. But in order to get there, you're going to have to make some changes, or else our wallets are going to snap shut.
Well, that's a good theory. Here's my counter. All these moves were made quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. But they were made so that the money could start flowing in. The deal they got, the TV deals that they were getting from joining the American was leaps and bounds better than anything Conference USA was doing for the programs within their conference. So I think while the decisions were made with good intent, they were probably taken off the training wheels before they could balance the bike.
Yep.
So whether you're on the team they made these jumps too fast, or whether you're on the team of, well, they had to make these jumps because the financial opportunity was too good to turn down, I think both are right.
On the other hand, if you're getting hammered week in and week out, and you have to take these money games against folks like Georgia and Florida, that's not a good look either. I mean, so
No.
why do you have to take the money game? Because you
There ain't
have
no money.
you have deficits that you're trying to cover. And so to me, that's where the argument shifts. Because if you were flowing in money, you wouldn't have to take those games. And then there's also the fool's gold of saying we want to be able to compete with these guys. Charlotte football's only been around for 13 years, 11 years in the deep end of the pool, and only 3 years in the deepest end of the pool. And those results are not coming in. And
that ain't even the deepest end of the pool. We're still talking G5.
Right. I
So,
mean, so there are levels to the.
You're in the 8
depth.
feet. You hadn't got to the Olympic pool yet with the Power 5.
Exactly. But the point is, if I'm a potential investor in athletics, or if I am an investor and I'm sinking money into this, I gotta wonder, what's the return on my investment?
So you're saying this was a move to keep donors happy?
It wouldn't surprise me, not at all. I mean, because if you stop to think about it, the programs that have football have these wealthy donors, or maybe even not so wealthy donors, but they have plenty of them.
Mm-hmm.
And these people have money. And if they are sinking that money into their alma mater, or because of corporate interests or whatever, and you're not seeing that return on the investment, you can best believe they're going to do something about that. So if you're Michigan and the football program is struggling, somebody's leaving.
Yeah.
Because there's way too much money being pumped into it to get less than contender status for national titles.
See, I'd be interested to see what the finances really look like at Charlotte, to where, I mean, I know we're probably never going to be able to get this kind of access, but I want to know what are the numbers that are coming into various programs, because we always hear the pissing and moaning about not being able to get top tier players, for their NIL budget and this, that, and the other. Well, if you're not having a lot of NIL money, that's because you're not having a lot of donors. And I get the donation to necessarily the programs is separate from NIL. I understand all that, but if not a lot's coming in on NIL, I wonder how much is really coming in on the other side of that too, and it's going right to the program. And because if I'm going to make my best guesstimation, it's probably not a ton
compared to other schools.
In comparison to the schools that they're trying to be like, or get to that level of status. So, yeah, I mean, it could have been a chess move. Like, look, we'll get rid of this guy. We'll try to keep our donors on board by saying, well, here's our vision. Here's who the next guy we're going after, and
or girl.
Well, I'm just,
I know.
We got to be PC. That's right. Guy or girl that we're going after, and maybe that was just a way to try to get more money flowing into the program by showing the future vision. Not, here's the guy that's had success in soccer, softball, and baseball, but not any in football.
Great, yeah, in those other sports. Yeah,
and I mean, look, like I said, I like Mike as a person. I got to deal with him on a much more one-on-one level than most of the fan base. And I I told him this to his face. I'm like, look, if you're gonna be here for a very, very long time, you're gonna have to have success in those types of sports. He understood that, and he's like, look, it's not like they're not trying, whether whatever your definition of trying looks like, but I'm not gonna sit here and badmouth the guy. I think he did a lot good for the athletics department. I just think his time kind of came and went, and he didn't produce in the sports that mattered revenue wise, and it was time to go.
The thing that really stands out to me about all of this, if you're talking about pumping money into programs, if Charlotte has like $1.5 million in NIL, that's a drop in the bucket compared to these bigger schools. But I think the folks who follow 49ers athletics around here, especially football and basketball, they're missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
You're not necessarily in that stratosphere with the Alabamas or the Oregons or the Michigans or the North Carolinas, dare I say.
But they made the Final Four in basketball.
Who?
Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. Before most of the fan base was born.
I'm just saying.
But that's my point. You're talking about 1977.
Yeah.
Great. And I was around for that.
I wasn't.
It was a magical moment. And that's my point. But if you're talking about, we want to be like those folks in the Power Four, it's like, first of all, before you can get to them, maybe what you need to do is handle your backyard.
Mm. Yeah.
And East Carolina's in your neighborhood.
Well, they beat them twice in football.
Great.
It'll be interesting to see what this year looks like.
And that's wonderful. And maybe it's a matter of where East Carolina is located, but they face the same hurdles that Charlotte faces. It's a non-ACC campus in what most people consider the heart of the ACC. And so why are you so eager to grow up so fast? It's like, look, these things take time. You're playing in the American, which is not the top level of college football. The basketball is very competitive. Football is very competitive. But to go out and think that, you have to be able to compete with these folks in the Power Four, very few campuses in America are at that level. Mm-hmm. You have to think about that. So there's a certain reality that folks have to face. Now, can you say what we want now is an athletics director who can not only stabilize our funding and improve it? Yes, that's the person you need to be going after. So then it becomes a matter of, well, what kind of person best fits that role? Is it a business person or an athletics person? And so that becomes another debate that you're going to have anyway. I thought Mike Hill was okay as an athletics director. But let's face it, if you're not getting it done with the sports that people care about, they're going to rake you over the coals, and give you a rail, put you on it, and ship you out of town. And that's exactly what has happened now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm sure Mike was. I mean, anytime anybody loses a job, especially when it's a job you're passionate about, you probably take it very hard. But look, he's not going to be hurting financially for a while.
Oh no, he has what, $2 million and some reasons to be not so glum today.
Yeah. In his contract extension that he signed at the end of last year, it talked about he was owed 50% of his base salary through the remainder of the contract term, which would be 2030. And so when you're talking about $420,000 a year, he'll be all right.
I wish somebody would give me that kind of money as a buyout. I'm like, thanks,
Yeah.
y'all. No problem whatsoever with me. But I think that this is obviously an ongoing story, and next steps are going to be really intriguing because, unlike replacing a coach, replacing an AD can start right now.
Yeah. Oh,
So it's not like, oh, well, yeah, we have to wait until whatever season is finished in order to get started on our shopping. No, you
I
can start shopping right now.
personally, I think you need to get this done here in the next, say, month before basketball season really gets going. Because, and look, I like Aaron Fern. I think with a NIL budget that was even comparable to other top level G5 team or G16, whatever it's called, I think Aaron Fern could have a successful basketball program. But you needed the new AD in to start evaluating him. And I'm not saying that they should be, what's your phrase, clutching your pearls or whatever, being nervous, whatever. But Aaron, he's going to be watched. I'm sure, like you said, Tim Albin, I know it's his first year, and you don't normally fire a coach after 1 year, but if he doesn't win homecoming, and then in another 3 weeks after that or a month after that, you've got your rival, East Carolina. If you don't win either of those 2 games, he might be on the hot seat himself, even in just a year. Now, I can tell you this, just from my interactions and looking at people's posts on various social media platforms, people are a little bit more lenient with Alvin, given the fact that he has had success at his prior stop. They don't want him gone. Even if they were to lose out, the general consensus I'm understanding is that people would want to give him a grace year, understanding that the schedule was relatively difficult.
It's brutal.
Well, although now you look back and you see Carolina and App State, and they're not doing that all that great either. So, how brutal was it?
Well, there's still that trip to Athens.
Yes, but as far as their non-conference play, it wasn't as brutal as we once thought before the season started. But look, I mean, I'm gonna give Alvin his fair shake as well, but he doesn't need to just go out there and be getting blown out, because I'm sure the new AD won't look too fondly on that either.
Yeah, and the other side of that is purely emotional. The new person didn't hire him, or Aaron Fern, or anybody else who's currently on the staff,
or Reed, or women's basketball coach Kevin Langen, the soccer coach. Yeah, so I mean, everybody. If I'm not mistaken, everybody on staff there now was hired by Mike.
Well, anybody who's been there within the last 7 years, who's been hired within the last 7.
I'm pretty sure that's every athletics coach.
Yeah.
I would have to do my double checking on like tennis and things like that, but I'm pretty sure most of the people that are on the athletic staff now were
maybe
Mike hires.
Men's soccer.
Langen was he hired by Mike?
No.
How long has Langen been around? I don't think so, now that you say that.
Yeah, he's been around for a minute or two. But in real terms, this is going to be a strange homecoming. Now, I won't be there for the festivities, and I'm sure people will still do homecoming type things, but that is sure to be on everyone's lips, at least everyone who's paying attention and who is lucid enough to get through the experience.
It'll be an interesting homecoming. And yes, to your point, Kevin Langen has been there since 2012. Holy smokes.
And that's a lifetime in college sports these days.
Yeah, but look, I mean, his career record is 146, 60, and 34. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Unless it's his decision to go.
Well,
chances are.
Yes, but look, good grace, he's arguably one of the most successful coaches at the place. But I digress. This weekend is going to be interesting. I say this weekend like it's so far away. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, that it is.
Man, the weeks are running together at this point, with basketball getting ready to start up and football and whew. But I would just implore the fan base to not maybe the next guy, I give him a little bit of a fairer shake.
You don't think 7 years is enough?
I'm just talking about the things that I was hearing even as a student, because you got to figure I started there the year Mike was hired as a student. People didn't like him from the jump. So call me, I guess, soft, if you will, if that's the term, but they were giving this man down in the country, just a handful of years in, and yet 7 years they're saying the same thing. So I guess just give the next guy or girl a little bit more leeway and don't go bashing them over the head immediately once they get there, and then give them 2-3 years and then see where they're at. Then do what y'all do best and let them have it. Look, I love our fan base, but it is one that
it's fickle.
They can be, and they are very passionate about their sports, and I'll give them their props for that, because we love giving props around here. And they like giving their opinions, and especially the ones that donate. They have a say. I'll give them that.
That's what you call stakeholding.
The ones that don't donate and will still want to give their opinion, well, I'm sure they're taken with a grain of salt.
Well, but they still have their opinion, and that's okay. That's the American way.
Well, we all have opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And so perhaps they will walk away, feel a little bit better with a win on Saturday. Or not.
Hopefully.
well, we'll see how that goes. Now, you also wanted to talk about the Magnificent Seven for whatever reason today.
Well, of course. I mean, I guess if we're wanting to talk about it now, I thought we were going to split it up into 2 podcasts.
No.
Okay.
Hey, after today, let's just put it all together and talk about the Magnificent Seven. This week, everybody who was ranked last week won, which is the first for this season.
Status quo, you say?
It's status quo, absolutely. And Huff is still number 1. Followed by West Charlotte, Palisades, Mallard Creek, Myers Park, Independence, and Olympic. So we had the argument over it last week, so we don't have to go back over that territory.
I'm just looking forward to this Mallard Creek Independence game. I think it could be a very good game tonight. And see, we have been doing these podcasts on Thursday, but now that we're doing them on Friday, it's got some immediacy to it. This bad boy's happening in about 7 hours.
Yeah, it starts at 7 p.m. And I guess that may be the one place that we might have some movement in terms of a winner and a loser. And
now, there's no way Independence can drop out by losing to Mallard Creek, right?
I don't know. We'll see.
Unless
you're
it's
not going to paint me into a corner.
I just wiggling you in there. Unless this game is like 45-10, I don't see there's any way Independence falls out. Now, would they flip spots with Olympic? Sure. But now, if Independence beats Mallard Creek, I just say you flip-flop the two.
Maybe so. And maybe what will also be an interesting game is West Charlotte and Butler.
No, that ain't going to be interesting.
No, you don't think so?
Not going to be interesting. And look, I know I'm on a talk show with both Coach Hales and Coach Griner. Both of them I consider friends. This game won't be close this year. Once Hales gets back in firmly and gets his culture back instilled in the program after his 1 season absence, then I think give a season or 2 down the road, this game could be close again. Not this year.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to be like Sam might be nice to Hales because they have to deal with each other every week. But
yeah,
I'm 38-10.
Okay. Myers Park is going to West Meg.
Who belt the rear end?
Could they be looking forward though?
No.
To Huff?
They could be.
Or is it just that good?
They could be looking forward, and they'd still be. I mean, look, I know Coach Waddell. He tunes in from time to time, and this is no slight on your coaching ability. Myers Park's good, okay, and I I just don't see any way this game's close.
All right. Well, we'll see how this all turns out. We do this every week with the Magnificent Seven, and it's starting to.
What about Palisades and Providence?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you think that'll be competitive?
I think out of all the games on here, maybe other than Creek and Independence, that one could be the most competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing, I mean, there's not necessarily, Palisades don't really have a rival per se. They're still so new, but whoever plays the cleanest game, I think, wins that game. I think if you limit turnovers, but if you limit the silly penalties, the false starts, the offsides, just things like that give teams a little bit of what I call cushion yards, and back them up 5, or you put your offense in a longer down and distance, or you put your defense in a shorter down and distance for the opposing offense. Those types of penalties, if those are cleaned up on, whoever commits the least of them, I think, wins this game. Palisades has proven now under Coach Simmons that they're going to be, I don't want to say a force quite yet, but they're going to be heard in Charlotte. And so, do I think Palisades wins? Yes. But do I think it could be a close game? Also, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, having seen Palisades, it's still a developing program, I'll say. And if Providence brings its best effort, yes, it could be highly entertaining. So we'll see about that. We'll see. What we also want to see is you go to thecharlottepost.com, become a donor, subscriber, or subscribe to the newsletter, in addition to the other two, because we need your support in order to bring programming like this podcast to you. You can access it for free, but it does come at a cost to us in order to be able to produce it. So do yourself a favor, do us a huge solid, go to the website, thecharlottepost.com, and support our work. So for everybody here in beautiful Derrida, at the studio and the office itself, have a great homecoming weekend, wherever you happen to be. That's Cam. I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.